In this video, you will learn how to use Sway with your text and forms embedded. To access Sway, you will go to your Office 365 account. Then you will go down to the Sway button that has a S on top of it. If you do not see it here on the left-hand side of your toolbar, you can also go down to the 4 boxes here at the bottom that says All Apps, and also choose Sway up here among the apps from Microsoft. Once here, you're going to want to start a new Sway. You can also open a Sway that has existing photos already added. Click on New Blank Sway. Once here, you're going to create a title page for your students to see. Because I'm making this a reading test, I'm going to label it Unit 1 Reading Test. I can also choose a background. You can make this related to your content. Notice here they'll give you some options that you can choose. If I click on reading, it gives me some items that look like reading. So I'm going to choose this one. And then when I'm ready for that one, I'm going to click Add. Now we're going to add in our slides that we made for our current text. In order to add your text, you can add it as an image or a PDF. PDFs are more friendly and they tend to have a clearer image. Now I'm going to upload my content. I'm going to click this green plus button. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add these images as a group. We're going to make these into a slideshow. So your students will see the title page and then they will see a slideshow that they can move back and forth through each page. And when we're done, we'll add a form at the end that students can reference as they are looking at their text. Now notice once I add my slideshow, it's giving me the option to add an image. Remember, you can upload an image or a PDF. You can upload multiple images at a time. You can only add one PDF at a time. I also want you to know that the best way to view this is going to put it in the middle for this. This means that the emphasis will be large enough so your students can read it, but not too large so it takes up their whole entire screen. All right, let's add an image. Now I can either choose image or I can upload. I'm going to upload it from my device. And I'm going to go to my content. So here are the images that I separated out. And because they're images, I can select multiple at a time by pressing Shift and now the down arrow to select downward. If I were going up, I would click on the up arrow. Now that I've selected all my documents, I'm going to click Open. Give it a few seconds to load. And as you notice, each of my items are coming up. And I'm going to need to select these all and move them into this group. So now that they're each checked, I'm going to take these and I'm going to move it right here into the group. So now each of these images has become a part of my group slideshow. Now, I want to add my test so that my students can answer the questions while they have this Sway open. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another piece to my slide. So I'm going to click on the group slideshow. Notice another plus sign appears. I'm going to click here. And this time I'm going to click Media. Now, our file for our form is going to be embedded. So we're going to click this Embed Code. Now, before we go ahead and paste this here, let me show you where we can get this embedded code. Now I have opened my form. I'm going to go to Share, and then I'm going to go to this icon here, which is for Embedded. I'm going to click here. Now, I want you to remember that we should be setting this so that anyone only in our organization can answer this. This is good because it'll record your student's name as they enter a response, and it'll also keep track of how many responses they can have. So remember, only people in my organization should be the one we use with our students. So I have my code here. All I need to do is click copy. Now it says this code is ready for you to paste. So I'm going to go back up to my tab and I'm going to go back to my sway unit test that I was creating. Now here it tells me I'm going to place my embedded code. So I'm going to click and I'm going to go ahead and click paste. So I right click and click paste, or you can also do Control V to paste as well. So now my form has been added here. Now the same thing, I would recommend always keeping this in the medium. This is easier for students to read, but it also doesn't make it so large that it takes up the whole screen. Now I'm done. So we want to check that this looks exactly like how I want it to look. So I'm going to click up here on play, and this is going to give me a preview of what this will look like for my students. So here's their title page. And over here, my students now can go to the next page. So here's their slideshow. And look, right here is that test that we were talking about. So now my students can answer a question. And let's say they need to go back in their text, they can click back. And now they're here in the slideshow. Now, if the student needs to go to the next page of the slideshow, they click the arrow. And now they can go to each page of the article and read it. Remember I said this is in a nice form so that it's nice and easy for them to look at. Now if a student wants the layout to change and wants it to be so that they're one on top of the other, they can also go to the three dots and click on Accessibility Viewer. And this will place the items one on top of the other. They can still read each one and they can scroll down as needed. The nice thing is, whichever way, it'll always save their answers. Remind your students that when they're done with their form to always click Submit. Now let's just double check some of the settings that we want placed on our sway. If we go to the three dots, we're going to go to Settings for the sway. And what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that the only thing that's on here is viewers can change the layout of the sway. We don't want them to be able to export this or print this, and we don't need them to see any of our authors. So this will take any extra information out that they may not need. Now your students can access their text and answer their questions along with getting their text evidence from the text right above.